Hello and welcome back to my holiday countdown coach spotlight. And today I am super excited to share with you Elizabeth Salazar. She is someone I met through my work at the Life Coach School. And then I think we happened to connect and take a cab together to a mastermind and interact in person and have worked together in addition to that. And one of the things that I've coached many, many, many people. You are one of those people who I just admire for your ability to really explore your own thinking and just be so inquisitive and so curious about what's happening in your brain in this amazing way. From the get-go, like, wow, you are really exploring this at a level that I don't know. Even those of us sometimes doing thought work, like it can get really rote, right? And and you just bring such incredible curiosity to it. So I'm always inspired, even when I've been coaching you. So, so if you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, I would love to have you share.
That's so fun to hear before I tell you about myself, because you know what I was working on right before this call? I was journaling on, because here's what I was thinking about. I've been reading a lot of books because one of the things I like to do for Christmas is I like to tell my mom, here's all the books I want. And she knows I love books. So she just buys me all the books that I want. And I was thinking about the books that I had her purchase me a couple years ago that I've never opened. I already read them before, but I like listened to them, or
Sure.
maybe I read them from the library, right? I like filtered them ahead of time, or maybe I didn't. I still have one I've never read before. And so I was thinking about this idea of how all the really great books that I've read, and I have this thought, which is like, oh, like there's this one, and I'm like, oh yeah, it changed my life. And then I was like, wait a minute, what if that's just a thought? Which I mean, we all know, but like how far will you take it? And so this
Right.
ties into this, which is like, I was like, oh, what if I've just been consuming and getting a really good hit from it? Because I was like, because you know what? These books haven't changed my actions. They haven't created any different results in my life. And because I was like, oh, but what's different? And I'm like, well, I feel good. And then I'm like, oh, but it's fleeting. And I'm like, oh, fascinating. So then I asked myself this question, which is, how do I measure life changing then?
Mm. Yeah.
It was fascinating because my brain was like, oh my gosh, this is hard. Like, what? Because sometimes we'll measure, like, what does success look like?
Right.
And the answers aren't crazy, like feeling different, but maybe something I can hold longer rather than like fleeting, something I can come in and out of. But the other one I thought was really cool, and it kind of like jumbles everything together, which is when I realize something that I didn't realize before. And I think that's
Mm.
the power of coaching.
Yeah.
It's a thought I didn't have access to. I just, not even like I didn't believe it, I just had never heard it before. I think sometimes that's the cool thing in coaching spaces. And when I think about the life coach school, like how much value I have gotten from Brooke's thoughts, because she just thinks different ones and her
Right.
possibility. And so it's that idea, because one of my friends messaged me and she's like, oh, I'm doing this free training and I did all this. I wrote this sales page and I did all this and it took me weeks. And I was like, have you considered that it could be done simpler? She was like, no. I was like, I'd love to try that on next time. And it's like, I feel like that's what's life changing is when
Yeah.
you're like, you get access to something and it could be a thought, it could be a feeling you never had before, it could be a way of doing something, it could be possibility, it could be, and it's like, yeah, that is life changing. So
Yeah.
that is cool because I feel like that's part of what I love is, I mean, what do I do? I am a life coach, but I specialize in business and specifically just like how are you going to use your mind to make money?
Yeah.
And when I think about that, because I've had this evolution of my business. At first, all I just focused on was like, let's double your business, let's set and hit your goals. And it was very much the action of our brain.
Hmm.
And I mean, you know, that's fun. I love understanding why. And it just continues to evolve in that. Like for a while, I was like, do I want to keep focusing on money? And because I feel like there's some, and the answer was yes. But it was like because there's a deeper reason to it.
Yeah.
And that was really important to me because at some point, and this sounds crazy, but at some point you're like, actually, the money is not that fun anymore. Turns out you really did need to find a why and a purpose. And it's like, we're just purpose driven creatures.
Right.
And So when I think about helping women make money, I feel like that is a way that we empower women. And when I think about using our minds, it's like we have had hundreds and thousands of years where we didn't know how the mind worked and we were being like brainwashed with how to think. And we are in a completely new era where we are like so powerful, but our brains don't know that. And so we keep, all of us, not just women, but we
Right.
just keep making ourselves a victim, and we keep like feeling powerless. And so
And in
when I,
sneaky ways, right? Like we may feel empowered, like, oh, and acknowledge it in certain parts, but I think that's the power of having someone like you coach and ask like more questions than maybe we would normally, right? Because there are the places where we're believing a story that we didn't even know we're believing,
yes.
right? That sneaky stuff. And
And
that's
that's
the
my
part.
favorite thing about money goals is because money goals bring stuff up.
Yeah.
And ultimately, as women, we've been trained to say, oh, well, I would just rather feel, because I've gone through this myself, I'd rather just feel really like slow and not have to worry about anything and not have any pressure. And it's like, I just think that we have to learn how to work through that stuff so that we can make a lot of money and feel those ways, because it's just not serving us to stay at home
Yeah.
and take care of the kids and happily, like, do whatever. It's like, yeah, we can do that and we can make money, because it's not true that it requires hard work, and it's not true that we have to trade our time. And so it's like just so many things when we set a money goal, because sometimes my clients are like, well, can I have a client goal? And sometimes that works, but I just have really found that money goals bring something different up. It's like a whole different mine of information.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
As somebody who has been really resistant to money goals myself,
yeah.
right? Like I know that anytime I do put that number on it, right, there's a reason I'm resistant.
Mm,
And so that is this, they're like, ooh, anytime there's that sticky point, like, okay, what am I really resisting here? Like, it's worth exploring, right? Because we find out things all about ourselves beyond, well beyond the money part. So, yeah, that
definitely.
trickles down into everything you do. So that's,
It does. And at least for me, and I think this is true for a lot of people who have built coaching businesses, my friends at least, it's that the beginning part is where you learn how to make money. And then you build this new identity and you learn how to see yourself as like, oh no, I know how to make money and I know how to run a business and I know how to help my clients. And it just turns out that once you have that in your life, you have room to keep going and seeing new stuff. And for me, it was really pulling back and saying, how do I feel satisfied
mm,
with my life?
yeah,
And because it turns out, even though I was teaching this work and it felt right, now when I look at it, it's like, oh, but was I getting satisfaction because I got the results I wanted? Was I getting satisfaction because I just kept winning? And or was I getting satisfaction? And we say it like, oh, it's about the journey. And you know, I feel like the more the more money you make, the deeper you get these things you
yes,
teach, and you're like, oh, it's my feelings, and
that.
it's my like everything we teach. It's like the more money you make, the deeper it goes, and
Yeah.
like more it impacts your whole life. And I feel like right now I'm in this era of like my personal life being transformed, and
Mm,
like, oh, you believe you can, it's your thoughts and your feelings, but what about when it's your dad?
mm,
What about when he needs you to help take care of him at the end of his life? What about when he's a jerk and he's like, it's not your favorite parent, the one you love, and you're like, oh, anything I would do for you. No, no, it's the other one. And it's like, oh my gosh, like it's a whole other
yeah.
game of, do I
Yeah.
still
Next
believe these
layer.
tools apply? And
Right.
can I manage myself, or is my brain constantly like, oh, it's them, it's not me? And it's like, no, no, still
Yeah. Still the same thing, different
hey.
area, right? Yeah. Amazing. Yes. So I know you said your business has shifted. Tell me a little bit about how you work with people now, or what does that look like at this stage for you?
Yeah. So I just am doing one-on-one coaching right now. and keeping it simple because I have
Okay.
done groups and I've done program and I've done 6 week things. And so I'm just doing one on one and I am just going to keep following what feels like fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this recently. So many things tell us like, and so many of my mentors, they're like, choose one offer and just get really good at selling it. And that's fine. I mean, I could,
Mhm.
or I can just keep playing
Yeah.
and creating things that I want and following what I like, what delights me. And I feel like at least right now that feels the easiest to do with one-on-one coaching. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's been
Amazing. Amazing. And you still have a wealth of resources out there, out in the world for people to kind of get a chance to see your work, your avenues, how you would work with them, the mindset approach that you have, um, regardless of if it's group one-on-one. So that's all available. I will link all of that here as well so they can track you down. So yeah. Anything else you want to share about your work? What's coming up for you? Insights or things they need to know?
I mean, I think my old podcast, The Brain Game, is a good one to go check out. I have a lot of great episodes in there that it's fun because it's like that's a version of me, and I feel like I can create a whole other podcast, and it'll be the exact same content,
Just
but different. And
yeah.
it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
so fascinating. So I think that that is a good place to check out. Let's see, is there anything else? I think I think one of the things that when I think about what makes me unique, one of my favorite things is this idea of our belief
Yeah.
and that it's so easy to live our life by what we can see. It is literally easy because it is hard. It takes so much effort to believe in a future and to believe in something that you don't know how it's going to happen and you don't know like when. And I would say that that is what has helped me to create the most magical
Hmm.
result because they just feel like magic. When
Yeah.
you're like, I believed it, I wrote about it, I thought about it before it ever existed. I made peace with the fact that I didn't know how it was going to work or exactly when, although I chose a
Yeah.
deadline just to like give my brain some.
Some
And
structure.
yeah, and then when those things become reality, it feels like magic. And
Yeah.
so I guess when I like think about the kind of work that I do, it is that sense of like, how do we get what we want? How do we create with our minds? And it's like I think that belief is that gateway that I maybe do a little bit differently than
Yeah.
the others. So
Yeah, it's fascinating, I think, as you talk about it that way in the magical sense that for me, this time of year, I think about the Miracle on 34th Street. My daughter actually was in a production of that at one point. And that show this time of year, right? It's such a metaphor for, right, like that process of believing in this thing that somebody else has told us about. Like we have to ask for what we want. We have to put it all out there for ourselves and believe that it's possible and to figure out how to create that belief, right? It's not like an on-off switch usually. And powerful to have someone help you work through that.
for
So,
sure. And I think
yeah.
you're right about this time of year because we, especially as parents and grandparents, we guard our children's belief and we
Yeah.
guard that magic and we foster it for them. And maybe when people, if they don't have kids, or maybe their kids got older, or maybe that was just never like a thing for
Mhm.
their family. But I think it's like that this is the time of year to remember that it's like there is a belief and we hold it in other areas, but so often people just aren't used to using it for themselves
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
alternative is a feeling. And even though we say we're okay with feelings, we are not okay with
No.
feelings. We have to, like, when I think about coaching, I'm like, I'm going to hold your hand while you feel some things that mentally you're okay with, but body wise, you are
You're like,
not okay with.
no thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see it for myself. I'm like, so many things I avoid. And I'm like, why? Oh, it felt scary. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, are we kidding? I'm like, ooh, I don't want
Yeah.
to. It's like
Yeah.
that's what we're working with is a human brain that seems amicable, and yet
Right.
it's like, I'm not gonna do any of that. So
Yes. And it's a good salesman of like, we don't want to do that, right? Human brain is so good at convincing us
yes.
that's not a good idea.
I
But
know.
wait, why not? Right? And I love kind of that you mentioned too of when we think about the magic, part of my doing this countdown was tied to having a little chance to honor my mom, who loved this time of year. She would spend most of November and December baking, prepping, buying gifts. She let like the whole thing. She created the magic. And can we do that for ourselves? Right? Like that's the power of belief is like when I really attach to that, then I get to go about creating the magic, right? And what
Yeah,
does that
so
look
good.
like? Yeah.
What is your answer for that? What does that look like? Did you ponder that before this, or was that just right this
No,
minute?
this is just like as we're talking, I was like, yeah, like you get to play with that. Like, okay, so if this is what I want to create, like what would make it fun, easy, magical, right? And that allows you to shift into like owning the action behind the belief, I guess, right? And like holding on to the belief while you do it rather than like letting it drift off and then we drift away from it. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
think that's a cool thing to anchor it into your mom too, because there's so many lessons you can pull from it.
yeah,
Oh, there's a time frame. And
right.
it just, I mean, that really helps. Our brain cannot hold it infinitely. It
Yeah,
cannot. But when we think about the holiday season and Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever people are
right.
celebrating, it allows like the brain's like, oh, I can hold that. And then, oh, why do I want to create magic? And what does magic even look like? And
Yeah.
like, what does that look like? Because I've heard people talk about like bringing those things into different times of the year. And so
Hmm.
it creates that same sense where it can
Right.
be like holiday like belief rather than money
Right.
goal belief. Doesn't always quite
Right.
feel the same.
Yeah. Right. And then like, okay, so if it's a money goal belief, then and we can acknowledge that actually the magic of the holiday season has to do with all of the prep, right? Like it's not just the day, right? It's not just when we hit the money goal. It's like making all of that other stuff interesting, fun, creative, whatever it is for you. Everybody's might be different. Like, okay, well, what do I want? How do I want to bring that over here to this money goal as well and make it interesting, creative, exciting on the way there. So
Yeah,
bring the magic,
so true.
right? Yeah, amazing. Well, again, as I led this with, I just love being around your brain and your questioning and all of those pieces. And you are brilliant at helping people peel back those belief layers and doing it for yourself as well. So thank you for sharing your insights. And I will be sure to link where everyone can track you down and include that here as well. So anything else? Any last
No,
nuggets you want to share? All
thank you
right.
for having me. That was
Yeah.
really great. Fun to share.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.